Bro, I'm not on your trail, bro. I'm trying to better you, bro. I don't want nothing to happen to you. You jumping out, then y'all already be jumping out the car. Man, nigga shoot you with that special old nigga. You jump out on the OG like that, they'll shoot you, man. And you don't even know it.
The rapper Boosie Badazz finally had quite enough of his son, Tootie Raw's reckless behavior. And honestly, this father-son clash is unbelievable. We're discussing a millionaire rapper's kid who prefers the streets over a secure future, drugs over common sense, and fame over everything else. This is not just regular family drama. It's a tragic warning about what happens when being spoiled meets poor decisions. The whole internet is buzzing about this, and they have every reason to be. This whole thing has complexities that many aren't seeing right now. Let's dig into this. Seriously, check this out. Boosie recently went on social media and genuinely opened up about his son Tootie. And believe me, the man...
And it cover up your beauty, bro. You got a nice face, a legendary haircut. Why cover it up? You ain't got no tattoos in your face. You got a nice looking face, bro. Why cover it up? You got a nice looking face, bro. The little girls like you, bro. Why cover it up?
For months, maybe years, Boosie had watched his son spiral, and he finally reached his breaking point. The lean addiction has Tootie acting strangely, lashing out at his loved ones. And get this, the boy actually tried to put hands on his own father. His father, people, that shows the drugs have completely taken over. Boosie explained it like this: I know the drugs are the cause, but that doesn't lessen the pain. That, right there, is a father's heartbreak. Imagine raising a child, providing him with everything, and then watching him waste it all for some syrup and street credibility he truly doesn't require. The way Boosie spoke, you could hear the weariness in his tone. This wasn't fury anymore. This was a man who had reached his maximum limit. He mentioned he has high blood pressure because of this. He's so stressed that his own health is suffering. That's how you know a parent has attempted every solution and none of them are effective. Here is where things get truly insane. Boosie revealed he gave all his children $500,000 when they turned 18. Every single one. But for Tootie, this father gave his son more than $1.2 million. And what did Tootie do with it? Every dollar I gave, he poured into a cup or burned up smoking weed. Boosie said it was lean and weed every day. No investment, no saving, no progress, just blowing through money as if it were disposable. Meanwhile, regular folks are struggling to pay rent, and this child is treating millions like monopoly cash. Consider this for a moment. $1.2 million could secure the financial future of several generations. That's enough for a house, a business, and investments. That's the kind of money that could have Tootie living comfortably for life, without ever needing the streets. But instead, he is quite literally drinking and smoking his future away. Boosie tried everything. He took him on tour, introduced him to legitimate hustlers and respected men. He tried to guide him down a different path. He exposed him to real business chances, tried to teach him about creating wealth the correct way. But Tootie refused to listen. He felt his dad was trying to control him, when actually the man was attempting to save his life. The ironic part is that Boosie understands real poverty. He started with nothing and built an empire. So, watching his son discard what he worked so hard to provide must have felt like seeing his life's work destroyed. Now, let's discuss how this whole thing got even more chaotic. Charleston White, you know this guy thrives on drama. He apparently set Tootie up and had him arrested for possessing a switch. For those unaware, a switch is a device that converts a standard Glock into a fully automatic firearm. That's federal time we're talking about, not a minor offense. Charleston White was openly boasting about it on his platform. Little Boosie's son, I just had his butt locked up. I knew that boy had that switch on him. I called him to get him over there. I got him 10 years with that TMZ.
Hey, TMZ, Tootie Raw, Lil Boosie's son, I just put his ass in jail. I told his baby mama don't be talking that goddamn shit to me. I knew that boy had that switch in it. Cause you know they get him over there. They get him 10 years of that bitch.
Charleston claimed that Tootie had been making threats against him and had banned him from Atlanta. So what did Charleston do? He orchestrated an entire setup, told Tootie where he would be. And when the kid showed up, bam, the police were right there waiting. That is some cold, calculated action right there. But here's the reality. Charleston White has been warning about this for a while. He said Tootie was acting carelessly, carrying illegal weapons, and issuing threats. Charleston even stated he knew precisely what Tootie had on him before he made that call. That signifies this wasn't some random trap. This was Charleston observing Tootie's behavior pattern.
I got Tootie Raw ass arrested within 2 hours of stepping foot on Atlanta soil. I told y'all I was gonna get him. I told y'all, say this, somebody gonna get my bag. Somebody go get my police bag.
Now, I'm not defending Charleston for informing, but we must be honest. If you're carrying illegal firearms and making threats, you are welcoming trouble. Tootie walked right into that snare because he was reckless and predictable. A genuinely street-smart individual would have noticed that trap from a long way off. The federal charges Tootie is facing are extremely serious. we're potentially discussing 10 or more years. That switch charge is grave, and given his history, prosecutors will definitely go for the maximum sentence.
You gotta learn from your mistakes, but when people get grown, that's what make you better as a man. That's what grow you up. The mistakes you make gonna make you a better person, or you gonna be a dummy. So that's what changed me. The mistakes I made. That's what make you smarter. That's what make you richer. That's what make you more wiser from the mistakes you made.
Here's the point that has everyone talking. Tootie Raw perfectly embodies the suburban rapper who aspires to be from the streets. This child grew up in a luxurious mansion with access to everything he could ever desire. His father already created the path, already escaped the struggle, and already secured generational wealth for the entire family. But instead of appreciating that advantage, Tootie chose to return to the slums of Baton Rouge and pretend to be a gangster. According to reports, this young man was supposedly moving substantial amounts of drugs and earning $1,500 every day. But why? Your father is worth millions. You don't need to endanger your life for small amounts of cash when you already possess generational wealth. It's like he was trying to prove something to people who are completely insignificant, trying to establish his reputation on the streets when his family name is already respected. That's some backward thinking, for real. This is a perfect example of a severe identity crisis, folks. Tootie likely felt he hadn't earned his position. He felt he didn't deserve the respect that came with being Boosie's son. So instead of capitalizing on what his father provided, he wanted to build his own name, even if that meant illegal activities and self-sabotage. The irony is stark, though. Boosie fought to leave that environment, and his son is fighting to return to it. It's like watching someone deliberately step into quicksand when they are standing on firm ground. Now, Charleston White criticized Boosie harshly about how he raised Tootie, and some of his points actually resonated deeply. Charleston claimed Boosie raised him in chaos. He put cameras on his face before he understood right from wrong. He let him see things a child shouldn't witness. That's actually a valid point, no question. Boosie involved Tootie in the rap world from day one. He exposed him to that lifestyle before the kid could even grasp the ramifications. When you involve a child in adult situations, you shouldn't be shocked when they make adult mistakes. Think about it. Tootie has been around money, drugs, violence, and street conflict since he was very young. He likely saw his father's associates, heard conversations about illegal activities, and witnessed the glamorization of that life firsthand. To him, that probably seemed normal.
Put them foes up, Tootie. Where you from? Put them up. This Tootie badass. Tell the camera where you from. Cross the what? Track.
Charleston also stressed, you taught him how to fail before you taught him how to think. Ouch, that's rough, but it might be true. When you are celebrating the street life in your songs and your child is watching, what kind of message does that convey? Boosie's music is filled with references to dealing drugs, violence, and street credibility. While that is his artistic expression and his reality, having a young child constantly exposed to those concepts probably molded Tootie's perspective in ways Boosie didn't foresee. Even Boosie acknowledges he made errors. The man said he's stressed, has high blood pressure from this situation, and his health is failing. That's when a parent realizes they may have contributed to their child's downfall. The entertainment business is notorious for damaging celebrity children. When you are always in the public eye, constantly around adult circumstances, and perpetually hearing about your parents' past problems and illegal actions, it can generate a distorted sense of reality.
Now that you get older, you be like, bruh, like, how the f*** you 40 years old still gotta look over your shoulder, you know, from your past. That's a f***ed up feeling. When you gotta go especially when you go in your city, you gotta look everywhere over your shoulder. Like, that shit wasn't worth it. The respect you got for anything you did ain't worth you being a older man looking over your motherfucking shoulder.
That's right.
Let's address the main issue no one wants to talk about. Tootie's lean addiction. Boosie stated it plainly, that damn lean has got my son. And anyone familiar with lean knows it's not just a simple high. That substance drastically changes your entire personality. It causes paranoia, makes you aggressive and unpredictable. Boosie described watching his son thinking different, moving funny, lashing out at people that love him. That is a classic sign of addiction. The drugs become more important than family, more important than money, and more important than your future. Lean addiction is especially dangerous because it's often praised in hip-hop. Artists rap about sipping syrup and pouring up as if it's simply a lifestyle. But the actual situation is far darker. Lean contains codeine and promethazine, which are very addictive opioids that can cause breathing failure, seizures, and even death. Charleston White had harsh words about this too. That lean isn't his real problem. It's his escape. He's sipping because he's emotionally numb. He's running from reality. Sometimes the truth is painful, but that might be precisely what's happening here. The addiction probably began as a way to cope with the pressure of being Boosie's son. The expectations, the identity issue, and the constant attention. But like all addictions, It quickly became the primary problem instead of the solution. What makes this even more heartbreaking is that Tootie had access to the best rehab centers, the best doctors, and endless resources to get clean. Yet addiction doesn't care about your bank account. It's a destroyer that affects everyone equally. Here's what is truly shocking about this entire mess. Tootie was working so hard to be accepted by people who would never support him like his family does. He wanted to fit in with the neighborhood. He wanted to be seen as a genuine street figure. But for what? The streets don't love you, buddy. Those same people who were encouraging him when he was spending money and taking risks, where are they now that he's locked up? They've likely already moved on to the next person who needs to prove something. This is the trap that ensnares many privileged kids who crave street respect. They believe if they can demonstrate they're authentic enough, they'll earn true respect and loyalty. But street respect is temporary and conditional. It's based on what you can offer people, not who you are. Tootie was probably receiving admiration from street guys because he had money to spend and connections to utilize. But that's not real friendship. That's business. The second he couldn't provide value, those same people would betray him without a second thought. Boosie tried to remove him from that setting numerous times. He gave him chances to tour, to be around successful individuals, to see what true wealth and power look like. But Tootie kept returning to Baton Rouge. He kept trying to prove himself to people who don't matter. The tragedy is Tootie already had everything those street guys were trying to get. He had money, connections, opportunities, and a father who had already established himself in those same areas. But instead of using those advantages, he threw them away, desperately seeking approval from people who were probably envious of his position.
Bro, I'm not on your trail, bro. I'm trying to better you, bro. I don't want nothing to happen to you. You jumping out, then y'all already be jumping out the car. Man, nigga will shoot you with that special old nigga. You jump out on the OG like that, they'll shoot you, man. And you don't even know it.
Now, look at our current situation. Tootie is facing severe federal charges for that switch. His relationship with his father is damaged, and his addiction is spiraling. All for what? To appear tough? To gain respect from people who are never truly on his side anyway. Charleston White said something difficult to hear but maybe necessary. That boy Tootie needs to go to prison. That's the best thing that can happen to him. No rehab can work on a child like that. That boy needs a cell, a mat, and a hard detox. That's harsh. But sometimes hitting rock bottom is the only way to wake up. When you possess millions of dollars and still choose to self-destruct, typical consequences don't seem to have an impact. The federal system is designed to break people down and reconstruct them. No extra funds, no special treatment, no daddy's connections, just you, your choices, and the repercussions. For someone like Tootie who's been protected from real consequences his whole life, that might be exactly what is required. The most distressing element of this whole affair is watching Boosie make the hardest decision a parent can face. Stepping back. He said, "I'm not abandoning my son, but I am taking a step back." That's love too. That's for survival. This man understood he was about to ruin his own health trying to rescue someone who was unwilling to be saved. He has other children, other obligations, and he cannot sacrifice everything for one child's bad decisions. Boosie also brought up his other kids, and that is significant. When one child consumes all your energy and money with destructive actions, the other children are neglected. They observe their sibling getting all the attention, even if it's negative, and they see their parents' health declining. How many other celebrity kids are experiencing similar difficulties? How many parents are watching their children waste opportunities that most people would die for? There's also the pressure of trying to live up to a famous parent's success. Tootie likely felt he could never equal Boosie's street credibility and achievements, so instead of trying to exceed his father, he tried to recreate his father's past, including the parts Boosie was attempting to leave behind. Boosie probably blamed himself for years, thinking that if he could only find the right method, the right rehab, or the right words, he could save his son. But the reality is that Tootie needed to reach his own lowest point before he would be willing to change.
Who's my oldest son?
Does he remind you of you?
Yeah.
The way he is?
Yeah. It remind me of me so much. But I kind of, sometimes I got to blame myself sometimes for, my son. My son grew up at a time where I was really in the streets, He was with me all the time, he really come up around it. I should have separated my son from a lot of stuff. I thought that was cool, but it was ignorant at the time. I got on this the other day, what the hell are you rap? I don't like my son rapping about all this murder and all this stuff. What I showed him? What else he did? What else I done showed him since he was a boy? Bro, we was raising these kids wrong.
Ultimately, this entire situation is simply sad, folks. You have a father who fought his way out of poverty, created generational wealth, and tried to give his son every advantage in life. And you have a son who threw it all away, chasing something that was never truly real. This situation proves that money can't solve every problem. Privilege can actually become a detriment when it's not balanced with good guidance, clear limits, and consequences. Tootie had every advantage in life, But he also had the drawback of growing up in a world where destructive behavior was considered normal and praised. The lean habit, the weapons charges, the obsession with street fame, all of these are signs of deeper issues that money cannot fix. Identity struggles, lack of purpose, the pressure to meet impossible standards, and the glorification of self-destructive actions. Perhaps this harsh reality check will be what Tootie needs to sort out his life. Perhaps facing genuine consequences will finally make him value what he had. Or perhaps this is just the beginning of a longer, darker path. Federal prison could be his salvation or his final destruction. It entirely depends on how he chooses to handle it. Either way, this situation should serve as a lesson to everyone watching. Money cannot purchase good decisions. Privilege doesn't guarantee wise choices. And sometimes the people who love you the most have to step away to save themselves. The streets will not reciprocate your love. Addiction does not respect your bank account. And respect earned through intimidation and violence is short-lived and empty. Boosie did what he needed to do to protect his own mental health and his other children. That is not surrendering. That is necessary self-preservation. And maybe, just maybe, it's precisely what Tootie needs to finally grasp that his actions have real consequences. What are your thoughts? Share your opinions in the comments. Should Boosie have backed off sooner? Is Charleston White wrong for being an informant? And can Tootie redeem himself? Or is it too late? Let me know your views, and please remember to subscribe for more honest content like this. This type of tragedy is occurring in families everywhere, and we must continue to have these discussions. Peace out, everyone.